Hey everybody, it's me, your priestess Lim and Sophia, Criselda Pacheco. How are y'all doing? Happy Sunday, wherever you are in the world. I'm just coming at you from the Lilith Society here, and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about some things as a reminder about who we are and who we aren't, really. We've been getting some messages from folks, and just understand that what we do here and the way we see Lilith here is probably really different than a lot of people are used to, because I feel like the internet is so saturated with a lot of self-appointed priestesses, people who are awakening, which is great, awakening to realize that we've all been sort of duped, by this false morality of the church and this idea of good and evil and this dichotomy. We're all looking for the third space, the fourth space, the fifth space now, right in the spectrum and nuance of reality. We realize what has been taken from us, or what has been withheld from us, is really more true. And here we don't really see Lilith in ways that you will find all over the internet. Here we actually observe Lilith as true nature. And so the way that I've come to see her this way, and I'm just going to share a little bit of my story, and it might be redundant for some people, but for some of you guys, you're new, and I like to share just to make sure. I have come to see that the most powerful way to observe reality is through our own direct experience. And there's only so much intellectualization that can occur, because if we just remain interested in it in terms of intellectualizing these esoteric truths and what's hidden, then we remain disembodied, or we become disembodied. We are not in our bodies then. We do not know what it feels like directly to experience that kind of phenomenon or magic, truly. And so I'm coming at it from the experience as an ex-sex worker for 20 years, also as a minority woman here in the United States of America, as well, as being on the outside of the inside, in a lot of ways, institutionally, economically, and as a woman as well, right? So there's all these spaces of outsiderness that I have occupied, and as a result, this is not me playing a violin, I'm not playing victim either. I'm saying this is kind of like a science, the way I've approached observing reality is I've actually gone out and turned my own life into my own field work to observe this phenomena in the world occurring. And so from these spaces of having been a sex worker for 20 years, a minority, growing up in poverty, and a woman, there's a lot of these spaces as an outsider that I have lived full-time in the light, right? Not part-time as a hobby, or I've hidden it from people. I have not hidden these truths from people. I have lived my life out loud like that for a long time. And from that direct experience, what I have realized is the correspondence between Lilith and nature, and how, because what the church has done with nature, right? It's taken the laws of nature and they've weaponized it. They've used the laws towards their own means of power, which is the archetypal emperor with no clothes. Now, if some of you guys are having a hard time understanding what I'm saying, please ask. I'm just expressing about where we're coming from and why. And so from that place, for me, Lilith represented also the most outcasted, right? Who she is on the internet. People talk about her as the outcasted, and her story is that she is the outcast. She outcasts herself, though, doesn't she? She's like, no, I don't want to make a sandwich for you. I'm not here and born to make you a sandwich or entertain you all the time, where you're constantly centered. Men, it's not just about men, but it's nature saying that to mankind also. So you see those correspondences, is that yes, she's woman, but she's also nature herself, which mankind has been working on and has, conquered, or wanting to conquer, which you can't ever really conquer nature. It transforms and turns into something else, right? So, but that's another conversation. So basically, on the internet, you'll find that Lilith, is a demon. Lilith is a succubus, and that's not how we approach Lilith here. She is not, to me, to define Lilith as a succubus is not transcendent. It's not transcending the trap of colonization. It's not transcending the trap of religion. It's actually encouraging it, and it's affirming it, because all that is saying is that the rebel is going to still be in the same room, just on the other side of the same room in the same house. And so I'm interested in transcending not just the room, but the house. You understand? And so she's a succubus only because nature has been shamed by the false morality of the church. And since nature is shamed in its nakedness as something, it's been defiled and gross and repulsive to civilization, right? And to people who bathe in pretense instead of authenticity. Because she's been shamed, now she's the succubus because she's been made into a whore. In the same way that Mary Magdalene was made into a whore because she wouldn't submit, or she, was loved mostly by Jesus, right, in the Gnostic gospel. So this is what happens to the feminine principle in its most extreme, is that it's horrified. It's turned into the succubus. And in a lot of ways, it's actually true in the way that it manifests in our society, for a lot of reasons. And I don't want to go off tangent there because that's part of another conversation I want to have. But so to me, to say that she's a succubus and just stay there and act like I'm Lilith, the goddess, and this is the succubus, to me, it perpetuates the same dogma. It's just changed clothes. It hasn't transcended the dogma. So we do not look at her as a succubus here, nor a demon, for the same reasons, right? She's demonized and horrified. So this is why, this is not how I see her. I see her as true nature. And nature has been horrified by the church. Nature has been shamed by the church. So the more true nature you are, the more unashamed you are about your nakedness, not just physically, but psychologically and soulfully, the more you are naked and authentic, the more you are shamed. And this happens throughout the correspondence of this story, right? So as a result, you're casted out of society. You're casted out of hegemony. And I'll talk more about hegemony. You can look it up on Google if you want, but I'm going to create more videos about that. It's very essential to the work and the book that I'm writing. But anyway, you're casted out. So if you are your true self, if you are authentic self, and Lord forbid you're a woman who's a sex worker who is unashamed and sovereign in your own body, and you're in your body, you're not just in your mind, you're in your experience. Your body is experiencing this knowledge directly every day. You are the living embodiment then of the secret of nature. And that threatens a lot of people. That threatens an entire institution. That it threatens the fabric from which all that is in our postmodern civilization has been built off of. And so whoever is depending on the rules of this modern civilization to give themselves status or importance, that will be in direct proportion to how uncomfortable they will be around someone who is authentically naked and unashamed, right? In that spectrum. So anyway, I hope I didn't confuse you. I want to just be clear here about what we're doing here. What we're doing here is an integration and mix of Luciferian magic and Lilith magic, which is Luciferian is the walk toward remembering the light within yourself, the walk toward realizing and remembering that you are your own salvation, no matter how unfair it seems, right? And it can seem unfair, but life is not fair, right? And so we have to look at the cards that we were dealt, and how can I, as an alchemist, turn all this shit to gold? How can I stop depending on, somebody to come rescue me? Because that's a form of Stockholm syndrome, where you become, you're waiting for the hero to rescue you, but the hero is the very same essence that kept you and put you in bondage to begin with. So that's a form of Stockholm syndrome. So in order to break through all of this sort of amnesia of colonization, the Luciferian way, at least here at the Lilith Society, is to become your own hero. How can you look at the cards you were dealt, and how can you integrate all of this into a formula that helps you bust out of the trap, right? And one of the ways in the Luciferian light searches within you for your true nature. What is your true nature before colonization? Who are you, just in the most pure way? And so that marriage of the Luciferian energy with the Lilith energy here is like the divine marriage of the masculine and feminine in the most divine way. So that is how we approach this. We don't have any sort of worshiping services. We don't view her as some kind of new false idol. We are against any idol worship here whatsoever. So I just wanted to make this video to remind everybody who we are in terms of our philosophy, right? We have other things going on here. We have an amazing shop, an apothecary. If you guys have looked at it, we have incredible, we have a lot of services too that I think that you would like if this sounds good to you, this philosophy. We have our in-store or our in-house astrologer as well, who's available for readings. And so we have all kinds of cool stuff, but our philosophy is everything I've just described to you. And I think it's important for you to know exactly where we're coming from so that you'll know what we are, but most importantly, what we are not. We are trying to pave a new road here for women and for all people, to be honest, because we think that's what time it is to return to our true nature, to start asking questions about who we truly are underneath the clothes, right? Proverbial clothes and literally. And how we can become our own heroes so that we don't depend on the very same energy that is life depleting and joy killing and feeding off of us all the time. So, yay! Thanks a lot for listening, you all. Please let us know in the comments if you have any questions, and we really appreciate that you're here. And I hope that all that I've just said was inspiring to you and has cleared up any questions you guys might have. Okay, bye-bye.